In the 1990s, European late-night TV was a world of its own. While mainstream channels aired sitcoms and action movies, another kind of cinema played quietly after midnight, on scrambled signals, imported VHS tapes, and behind locked doors. It was elegant, mysterious, and unforgettable. And at the heart of it were the women, icons of the after-dark screen whose names still echo through memories of static-filled TVs and whispered conversations. She wasn't loud, she didn't need to be. Silvia Saint had a presence that stopped time, cool, composed, and completely unforgettable. With her platinum blonde hair, flawless symmetry, and piercing blue eyes, she became one of the most recognizable faces in European late-night cinema. Born in what was then Czechoslovakia, Silvia didn't chase fame the traditional way. She found it in a quieter realm, through the glow of imported VHS tapes, satellite TV signals, and cable channels that came alive after midnight. Her roles weren't about dialogue. They were about mood, control, a stare that said everything with nothing. Whether playing the mysterious neighbor, the untouchable beauty, or the elegant stranger in a velvet room, Silvia Saint carried an energy that made even the slowest scenes feel electric. She became a symbol, not just of attraction, but of command. You didn't watch Silvia. You observed her, hoping not to blink and miss something. While Hollywood had its stars, Europe had Silvia Saint. And in her world, silence was power. Born in France with Balkan roots, Draghixa brought something different to the screen. Raw energy. She didn't glide into a scene, she stormed in. Her expressions were alive, her movements unpredictable, and her presence impossible to ignore. Where some after-dark icons leaned into elegance and distance, Draghixa was bold, intense, and undeniably present. Her roles were charged with emotion, sometimes playful, sometimes defiant, but always captivating. She didn't just appear in scenes, she took them over. Her rise through European cable and VHS circuits was fast and fierce. She became a favorite in France, Italy, and beyond, often remembered not just for her look, but for the sheer magnetism she carried. There was a wildness to her screen presence, like something real was always about to break through the fantasy. Some icons are remembered for their beauty. Draghixa is remembered for the impact. Laure Sainclair didn't just appear, she glowed. With a soft presence and a face that seemed carved from old European cinema, she brought a quiet sophistication to the late-night screen. In the mid to late 90s, Laure became a household name in France and across Europe. Not through the mainstream, but through those elusive, softly lit films that played when most people were asleep. Her beauty was classic, almost melancholic, like something out of a forgotten black and white reel. But there was more than just grace in her performances. There was sadness, stillness, a feeling of distance, as if she was always just out of reach, even when she was right in front of you. That's what made Laure different. She didn't play to the camera. She escaped from it, letting the audience chase her through long silences, candlelit rooms, and the haze of vintage cinematography. For many, she felt like the final chapter of an era, a closing note to a genre that was slowly fading. Laure Sainclair wasn't just a star of Cine Privé, she was its last great poem. If Cine Privé had a superstar, it was Zara Whites. Blonde, bold, and always one step ahead of the camera, Zara wasn't just a presence, she was a brand. Her look was unmistakable. Big hair, confident smile, and a gaze that felt like it belonged to someone who knew exactly how much control she had over the screen. Originally from the Netherlands, Zara rose quickly through the ranks of European late-night cinema. But unlike some of her more mysterious peers, she leaned fully into her popularity, embracing the attention, the interviews, and the strange fame that came from being both everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She had a playful energy that made her scenes feel lighter, faster, more modern. While others floated through slow, sensual atmospheres, Zara walked in like the lights were already on and the cameras were rolling. She was less fantasy, more force of personality. And that's why people remember her, not just for the visuals, but for the attitude. Zara Whites didn't just appear on screen, she owned it. By the late 90s, the mood was shifting. The soft, dreamlike tone of early Cine Privé was giving way to something sharper, faster, and more urban. And at the center of that change was Nina Roberts. French, fearless, and always intense, Nina had a presence that broke with tradition. She didn't float through scenes. She charged through them. Her energy was different. Less mysterious, more direct. Less fantasy, more confrontation. She brought an emotional edge to the screen. Confident one moment, volatile the next. And that unpredictability made her stand out in a world that was often polished and predictable. While some icons of the genre remained distant, Nina looked straight into the lens. She didn't wait for the audience to catch up. She dared them to keep up. For many, she marked the transition from classic Cine Privé elegance to a new kind of late-night storytelling, grittier, bolder, and impossible to ignore. Nina Roberts didn't just appear at the end of an era, she challenged it. By the end of the 90s, Cine Privé wasn't just a secret anymore. It was a brand, a style, and Clara Morgan became its most recognizable face. French-born, with a voice as soft as her image was sharp, Clara entered the scene with perfect timing. She carried the elegance of old-school icons like Laure Sainclair, but added something new, media savvy. She wasn't just on screen, she was on magazine covers, in interviews, and eventually hosting her own shows. Her look was refined, her tone calm, but underneath was the same magnetic tension that defined the genre. Clara was the bridge between eras, the mystery of the 90s wrapped in the production values and self-awareness of the 2000s. Where earlier stars seemed distant or underground, Clara walked into the spotlight and stayed there. She didn't vanish when the tapes stopped rolling. She evolved, and that's why she's still remembered. As the curtains were slowly closing on the golden age of late-night European cinema, a new kind of icon stepped into frame. Elegant, exotic, and unforgettable. Her name was Katsuni. Of French and Vietnamese descent, Katsuni broke every mold. At a time when the genre risked becoming formulaic, she brought a quiet intensity that felt completely fresh. Her look was striking, her presence graceful, and yet there was always something just beneath the surface. Calculated, confident, quietly dangerous. She carried herself like someone who knew exactly what the camera saw and how to control it. No theatrics, no cliches, just pure command. Katsuni represented the final evolution of Cine Privé. Diverse, global, self-aware. A product of the genre's legacy, but also its rebirth. Leaner, smarter, and fully in control of the narrative. She wasn't just the next chapter, she was the turning point. By the early 2000s, the golden glow of Cine Privé was starting to fade. But before it disappeared, it gave us one last unforgettable name, Monica Sweetheart. Hailing from the Czech Republic, Monica brought a new energy to the screen, youthful, vibrant, and unmistakably modern. Her look was softer, more approachable, and yet she carried that same magnetism the genre was built on, the ability to pull focus without ever trying too hard. She arrived just as VHS was dying, cable was changing, and the genre that once ruled late-night schedules was giving way to the internet age. Still, Monica held the line, one of the last faces to truly belong to that world of soft lighting, slow pacing, and atmospheric allure. She bridged the gap between old and new, a final spark before everything changed. Monica Sweetheart may have come at the end, but she proved that the magic hadn't run out just yet.